When I look at the shape of a rectangle and a square, it looks to me as though if you put pressure on your rectangle and kind of pinched it here at the top and bottom, it might go into a parallelogram. These parts of it might pop out. The same way with the square. This might pop out and go into a rhombus. So a rectangle reminds me of a parallelogram that's just kind of gone slanted, and the same way with the square. So when it comes to finding the area of these shapes, it's possible to use the same one that you use for rectangle and square. In other words, area is equal to the base times the height. The base is what the shape sits on. Okay, so here's a base, and the height would be this way. So here's the base, here's the height. In this shape, if you were to make a garden out of that shape, you would have rows and rows with the same number of planting spots. Maybe we'll plant some carrots. We would have a carrot plant in each of these and along the height. So we can multiply the base times the height and get the number of carrots we could plant in this particular garden. There is no wasted space. In a parallelogram, even though the shape has some irregularities, here's some wasted space and here's some wasted space, but if we cut this off right here, we could take this part and attach it over here, and it would become a rectangle. So the formula area equals base times height actually does work for all four of these figures. Very little to remember here with the area formula for rectangle, square, parallelogram, and rhombus. Sometimes this is shown as area is equal to length times the width, where you would have the width of the rectangle being and the length this way. So it doesn't really matter. We can use base times height or length times width. You're just multiplying one of the sides that it sits on and another side that takes it up to the top. You might see it as this way, base height, with no multiplication sign in between. That also means multiply. For perimeter, that's just going to equal everything that we add around the side of it, because a perimeter would be what you would put a fence around your barnyard so the cows don't get out. Or you could put trim around a pillow. That would be a perimeter of a pillow. And in that case, you would have to add up all the sides. In the case of a rectangle, we would have a perimeter being, you have two widths and you have two lengths. So if this were, let's say this is 5 and the height or the length would be 3, we could add 5 plus 3 plus 5. This would be another 5 here because these are congruent, remember, and another 3. So we could have 2 perimeter is equal to 2 of the widths, so 2 times 5 plus a 2 times 3. And that would give us the perimeter. Or we could just simply add all the 4 sides together. So it would be 3 plus 5 plus 3. If you understand that the perimeter means that you start in one spot on a figure and walk how many steps this way, and then add how many steps this way, and then you add how many steps this way until you get back to where you started. So perimeter is adding up all the sides, and area is base times height for rectangle, square, parallelogram, and rhombus.